Sides. We're there to report on the truth, and we will eventually get all sides of the story. And if you do see our reporters on the field talking to one particular group who you might not agree with, know that they will eventually come to you to get your side of the story. So just give them that chance to do their work on the field. In other stories, former Independent Police Directorate for Investigations boss Robert McBride will continue his testimony at the State Capture Commission of Inquiry in Parktown, Johannesburg. McBride began his anticipated testimony yesterday after several postponements. His testimony included revelations on what led to his suspension and the dismissal of the then head of the Hawks, Mzwandile. Let's get more on the story now, and let me bring in our SABC senior reporter, Mzwandile Mbeje, live for us in Parktown, Johannesburg. Hey, Mzwandile, thank you very much indeed for your time. So, Mr. McBride's testimony touching on a range of matters, and one of the matters is an inquiry chaired by the Justice Zondo's younger brother. Remind our viewers, Mzwandile, about what decisions was taken in this regard.
Thank you very much, Blaine. The decision basically was that the judge will continue to preside over the commission, even during that testimony that will involve his brother Mxolisi. What Robert McBride did was that in his testimony, or rather in his affidavit, there is a name of Mxolisi Zondo, who chaired one of the panels, one of the disciplinary panels that Mr. McBride is critical of. So, and this issue, Blaine, obviously arose because it does have issues with regards to the conflict of interest. Here is the judge presiding over the commission, and the name of your brother comes up, and clearly some people will look at the issue of, are you objective enough in dealing with this? So, but the decision was, because this is a commission, it's not necessarily a court of law, the judge cannot recuse himself. There is no provision that allows that. It's only the president who can make amendments in case a recusal, for example, has to happen. The decision was that the judge will hear that piece of evidence that involves Mxolisi Zondo, but he will make no finding. So he will hear it, he will just see it, he will just sit through it, but he will make no finding. But at the same time, the process is really of looking at how an issue like this could be addressed will be ongoing. Blaine, it's possible that some of the members of the public may want perhaps to have some submission in regard to this matter. So that's where we are with that issue. But also it's important, Blaine, to indicate that it was made clear that all interested parties, McBride himself, Mxolisi Zondo himself, and others really that are linked to this, said they had full confidence in Judge Zondo. And that piece of evidence that will be led around Mxolisi does not have material effect really on what will be happening. I think it's one of those issues that McBride is just mentioning to say perhaps Mxolisi Zondo, when he was presiding over this panel, he may have been unhappy about. So that's where we are with regard to that matter. So work is ongoing to determine really what is the best way to deal with it.
Okay, that clears up things for a bit. Thank you very much indeed for that, Mzwandile. Also, he spoke about this case, this rendition case. What did he say with regard to that?
Oh, well, it's quite an interesting case because it looks like that's where the genesis of the problems that he started facing as soon as he assumed office at IPID began. What he's basically saying was that when he was appointed, there was already this case, and then some characters like Anwar Dramat and Shadrach Spear had already been charged, given that this case had been happening. But what he basically is saying is that he tried to then obviously get an update. So what exactly is this? So who did what? And then when he looked at this case, Blaine, he realized that there was a lot of inconsistencies. There was a lot of things really that didn't make sense. So as a result, you could see that it's not a case really that could go forward. So he then had to prepare a proper statement to make sure that this case doesn't really go to court, because it really had no basis of successful prosecution. But remember, by the time he was there already had been prior statements that had been made by, I think, Mr. Kuba with regards to this case. So it somehow got mired into some, I would say, political machinations, and as a result, he ended up being suspended himself because he was accused of having changed some of the things that were involved in that case. So, but basically, this is what it means, plain, is that the evidence that he's leading around this case is he is trying to illustrate that in the law enforcement agencies, there were people who were hell-bent at getting rid of those people who were making sure that everything was done according to the book. So as far as he's concerned, this case basically was one of those smoke screens that would be used to get people out of the way.
Mr. McBride's testimony is expected to implicate more than 30 people, we understand. Is it likely that he will wrap up his testimony today?
Oh, well, I do not know. I do not have his affidavit. But looking at the pace and what we had been told to expect, I simply will not say this would conclude today. And perhaps it will go on until Monday. But of course, we don't know. Perhaps there will be a change of tact when Advocate Pretorius continues to lead the evidence. But as matters stand, Blaine, I don't see us conclude his testimony today.
Yeah, we were told that the former KZN Hawks boss, Johan Boysen, was scheduled for Monday. So maybe if this spills over, that will be pushed as well. Thank you very much indeed for that update. SABC senior reporter Mzwandile Mbeje, live for us in Parktown, Johannesburg.